Perhaps you are partly to blame for that. Or maybe it's some fault in the system. Or maybe that's just how it has to be. The last time you blew out your candles, what did you wish for? And did you get it? 1. The lottery was in less than an hour, and Ophelia still hadn't waxed her wings. Her hair, as cobalt blue as the flower she was born from, and just as delicate and fine, was brushed, of course, her bangs pinned back. Her uniform pressed, buttons polished, collar cinched so tight it was hard to swallow. Her boots showed little sign of wear, all the scuffs carefully buffed away. But her wings, she simply hadn't gotten to yet. Probably not an issue. There were no long-distance flights in her future after all. But if anything could be said of Ophelia Delphinium Fidgets, it would be that she was always prepared, that she worried over every minor detail. Some fairies called her fussy. She preferred the word meticulous. When she was born, pulled from the dense cluster of dewdropped flowers in Mrs. Haverstack's back garden, she looked at her founder and immediately brushed the pollen grains off his shoulder. They bothered her, sitting there, impertinent and messy. Tidy. That's how she liked things. At the age of nearly nothing, she was all about the particulars. Nothing out of place for this fairy. Never. That's how she'd risen in the ranks so quickly. The youngest ever to graduate from the academy. Top marks. A certified field agent at the age of 4. A grantor. Which is why it was a little bothersome to her that she wasn't ready for work yet. Normally, she would be sitting in her chair by now, on her 3rd bowl of honeyed oats, staring at the clock, waiting for Charlie to pick her up so they could commute to work. Not that she needed the company. He was the one who insisted. Ophelia's cottage in the treetops was on his way. Ophelia didn't mind being alone, at least most days. Grantors almost always flew solo. Sometimes it's best if you have to count only on yourself, even if it means you will have only yourself to blame. She reached into her cabinet and pulled out her jar of liquid beeswax and the bit of cotton that she used to spread it, cautious not to get the stuff on her fingers. It was nearly impossible to wash off completely and made your skin slicker than snot. For the rest of the morning, she would fumble at door handles and have things slip out of her hands if she wasn't careful. On wings, though, it did wonders, especially if you were traveling in bad weather. Not that she would know. It had been nearly a year since she'd graduated, and in that time she'd made only brief forays outside the haven. Training exercises mostly. Some cleanup detail, but no actual missions. Not the thing she had trained for. Ophelia Delphinium Fidgets was a grantor, yes, but she still hadn't made her first wish come true. 2. She was Delphinium first, Fidgets second, Ophelia third. When fairies are born, North American fairies at least, they are given their names in stages, not all at once. The middle is always the first. Fairy ritual is seldom logical, and is simply the name of the flower, bush, or tree they are born from. For fairies, as everyone knows, are creatures of nature in the most intimate sense, sprung from magic and beauty and wisdom, and even more specifically sprouted from lilacs, pine trees, and mulberry bushes. Though there were several fairies, Ophelia thought, who must have sprung from tree stumps or boulders for all the sense they had. A leaf unfurls, a flower's petals part, and there, uncurling alongside and stretching his or her sun-blessed limbs, is a fairy in the flesh. Perhaps you've seen it happen, though you wouldn't know it. Fairies are nothing if not stealthy. Stealthy and quick-witted, and a touch mischievous. The flower or tree a fairy springs from undoubtedly says something about her, contributes to her personality. Fairies emerge from redwood trees a little stouter than those stemming from phlox. Pansy-plucked fairies have a more